a learning, well, always being with Lyle, is there's always something new that he's bringing into it. I have no clue where he gets all the energy to accomplish what he accomplishes, but it's fascinating to watch. And I'm on for the ride. I've got myself on the wagon, and we're going to be able to take quite a trip together by the time all of us are on this path together. Okay, let's see who we have here. Is Peaceful. It's really kind of neat because I have the captive audience I had before, which is really cool. Okay, I welcome all of you, and we're going to start with the obvious. Wait a minute, let me see if I said the recording. Did I say to record? Yeah, I did. Okay. And as we do start, I've been doing this more often because I really can get a point across better, I think. You can all see that, I assume?
Yes.
And that's who we are, in case you'd forgotten. And as we start, we need to be thankful. Oh, good. Bintu is going to start earlier. I love it. Is that we need to be thankful for what we have. And if nothing more, that Lyle's part of our lives and that you are part of mine. So if you will just say to yourselves, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. There's always something to be grateful for. And I really believe that when we take time to do that, we'd be able to see that there's a lot more around us than we think about that to be grateful for. And as we look at where we are today, we're talking about resilience, which is perfect because Lyle just spent the last hour talking about resilience, actually. I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. And the last is a good half of the art of living is in resilience. Absolutely. And resilience is a big word, and it probably is a bit larger for most of your vocabulary of what you were taught. And so if you'll mute yourselves, I want to just talk about this for a minute. And the whole concept of resilience is the ability to bounce back. I almost think of a rubber band. You know, you pull it and pull it and pull it, and either it breaks or it bounces back to where you were and improves. So resilience is the ability to look at what's around you and whatever situation you've been given, and to come up with a response that will allow you to return to whatever you consider normal or to improve to what is better than normal. So it's quite a talent. It really is something that can be established, yet its base is that each of you has experiences from your past, all unique to you, that were placed there because you needed to learn that. At the time, you did not want to learn that, and you had to find a way to get around it or through it or to survive it. And the choice at the time was probably the best that you could do. Whatever that choice was what's now created you who you are, and you have learned from it. Sometimes it takes years to look back and to say, Now I see. Now I know why that was placed there, because I learned how to, and then whatever you learned. And so the example that I give of resilience, I did this with my group of friends yesterday. I do have a lunch with Jacque Zoccoli on Thursdays. And resilience, I tend to use the same topics. And one of the women there had planned to have an event, a women's conference in May on the 16th. Well, you can guess what happened. It was not going to happen. And what she had planned, she had the place all paid for. She had all the vendors all there. She had all the people signed up to go. She had all the money in, and bang, she had to make that decision. What do I do? There's a lot of money on the line. There are lots of people's lives in what they're doing, not necessarily life and death, but on the line. So she had to use a resilience. She had to learn what to do. And she did what maybe a lot of people wouldn't have done. She did postpone the event and until further notice. However, she turned it all toward the people who were part of it. And she explained to them that there will not be an event, but I would like to find out more about each of you and to be able to share that information with each other, even though you weren't there or we aren't there. So she flipped it to go toward the people that were involved instead of sitting in a corner with poor me, oh my. And she turned it into a learning experience for herself because she became part of their lives in a much deeper way, not to mention the fact that she now was an amazing example to other people. So resilience is taking that which has been very traumatic in your life and seeing what you did to it, with it, about it. And sorry, we have a 5-month-old puppy digging its way out of a bag. Hang on a minute. Let me. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you have a 5-month-old puppy that's got its own mind on playing. So what I want to know from you is, oh, okay, cool. What I want to know from you is, I would like you to, let's see if I can move this down. Come on, move. Okay, I think I can put it way over here. Let me move you guys over here. Introduce yourself. Now this is you're getting to know each other at a different level, I hope, even though you probably don't communicate other times. I hope that eventually that will change. I want you to think of a situation in your past, and some of you can be there right now without any question because it may be right about now. And I want you to think of what's really stressful, and I want you to think about how you responded to it and think about how that worked for you. How did you respond to something that has been stressful in your past? And the reasoning for that is because resilience is based on the stress that you've had. and to be able to look and to automatically, eventually, automatically come to a response that works best for you. We learn from the steps along the way. If you can literally get to a response that you've said to yourself, well, you know, last time didn't really work out well the way I responded, but you know, this time I know what to do. I can do this better. So I want you to own up, so to speak, as to whatever response you did have, and just to think about it for a minute. And just to share that if you're willing to do that. Is anyone willing to share? Kuwang, do you have
Yes,
anything?
yes,
Go ahead.
yes. In 2011, I registered a course to be a chartered accountant.
Uh-huh.
And up to now, I have not finished the program.
Uh-huh.
I have written some courses, I have failed many times, but the will to give up is less and the will to succeed is more, is greater. And I'm still having 2 courses left. And when I see people like, no, I've tried, I have not succeeded, and I will tell them, this is 10 years going that I am on a particular course because I want to get somewhere. And there's no need for you to give up, because if you really know what you want what you want to do for, there's no need to give up, no matter how hard, how many times you fail. And the reason to why I'm on the program for so long is because of financial
Mm,
difficulties.
yeah.
But finance will not stop me from
Mm-hmm.
getting what I want to. So the time I get money, I register for my course, I prepare and I write. Sometimes I fail, sometimes I pass, but I will not give up because I want to be a chartered accountant. So when I tell them that, they are encouraged. I think that is my
Yeah.
own story that I have to share.
Yeah, exactly. And you could see, again, it's like we've said before, you could see your why. You could see that this is something I have to do, and I don't care what happens, I have to do this. I can't
Yes.
go back because that puts me in another place, and I can't.
Mm.
I just have to move forward. So that was your resilience. And from that, you get more of a creativity. You find more things that can make it work, where
Yes.
before it was like, I can't do this. No, it's, well, let's see. If I did that, I could do it. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful example. Omar, do you have anything that you remember in your past? And unmute yourself first.
Yes, I do have two stressful situations in my past. That once I was really in a position that I couldn't figure out how to overcome this stressful situation. I hope this example goes well. So the first one was the public speaking that I needed to do when I was working with one of projects last year from USAID. So I had to give a public speaking kind of thing for two companies that they were going to sign an agreement. So there I was representing one of those companies. So I needed to talk on behalf of that company that day. So I have planned everything. My speech was pretty good. Everything was normal, but on the exact time that I needed to go on the stage, to give this speaking, I was kind of, nervous, and I was stressing out, and I was not, able to, uh, calm myself. Then the speaking went not bad, but it went somehow. But the next time, uh, the situation arose the same when I was going to start teaching in the university. So the university have given me a class of uh, 40 students to teach, but uh, it was like they didn't introduce me before, but they just told me to go start the class. I don't know, maybe it was an experiment for them, or I don't know what was going on. But I said, yes, of course, I'm going to do this. So I went to the class, and before the class, I had 5 minutes to enter the class. So I started remembering the previous event that I was not able
Oh
to figure out
no.
how
Oh
to
no.
overcome this situation.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, okay, what should I do in this 5 minutes of my time that I need to go enter the class and start teaching? So I had my phone with me. I grabbed my phone and I Googled how to calm yourself when you're nervous.
Really? I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
So I read some of the materials from Google that was written. I still remember that when you're about to do something like public speaking and stuff like that, so I should do this normal techniques. I should move my body,
Hmm.
move my shoulders.
Breathe. Oh, I made you freeze. I sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Step aside. Worked. Is it? My voice is there.
Well,
Uh,
keep
is
trying.
it
Keep
fine
trying.
now?
Yeah. Well, it's a
All
little
right.
better. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So I read all the materials that I could in 5 minutes, and then in 5 minutes, 80% of my body was responding
Mm,
positive. And then I entered the class. Class went very good, and then I end up, figuring out how to really calm yourself in a stressful
beautiful.
situation. So that was my story.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, that's a beautiful example. You guys are
Thank you very much.
good. I don't give you enough credit. You're really so good. Anyhow, not that I
Thank you very
don't give
much.
you credit. That was a really good example.
Thank
Oh, you
you.
can't hear everybody? You can't see everybody either, huh, Fatima? Okay, well, I hope it gets better. I can't worry about the, oh, she's going to come back in again. Anyone else want to share? Augustine, I'm sure you've got something to tell us about this. You could do this in a whole time of it. Augustine, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, there he is. Okay. Okay, Augustine, give us an example of when you were in some sort of a traumatic type of thing and what you did to get around it that you learned from.
Yeah, well, really, I can take that back from high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like since I started back school, and I've never been a victim of failure in any of the classes. So like after my my basic education certificate examination, when we went to SS1, definitely because of influence of friendship and the other friends I was mingle around with, it makes me engage in so many like playing transit in school, escaping classes and other stuff. And that lead to for me to repeat that class from four high school. Really, it was very devastating to me, like embarrassing. I have to cry a lot, like
Mm-hmm.
since it was my first time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I have to repeat in that class. It was so depressing, like more especially seeing my other colleagues in different forms. Like most likely sometimes I have to hide whenever I see them passing by because like when they are passing by bluffing, so I don't want them to see me. So what I did was like I have to cut down on some of these friends and put more concentration and sit back, start reading my old notes during the holidays. So I was like able to bounce back and I keep glued to teachers like what I don't understand, like I have to meet them because like um I was in the art form, the art faculty. But like I was like having science teachers like they were contacting me like Augustine, you have more you are trying, you are having good grades in the science modules like mathematics, biology, and others. So why don't you think you have to do science? But I always have this perception like I want to be a lawyer. So like I have to be in the art faculty because I have to build that foundation. But never mind really I was having like more grace or performance skill in mathematics in the science area. So but I have to glue because like I was having series of warning from the principal on modules like history, government. My performance was not too good because like I was very poor in reading this huge amount of books and other stuff, but I was just trying to force. But never mind, because of hard work and concentration, I end up coming. taking the first position in SS1. So like
Mhm.
I think like
Mhm.
what I can
That's
say
right.
is like patient,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. You
Then
just
realizing your lapses, then you see how best you can able to come back and put your house in order. I
That's
think
right.
that can help you to bounce back.
Absolutely. You went just the right direction. It took a while. You had to crash first, you know? A lot of
Sure.
times you crash first. You get down to the bottom, and as some of us say, you cry till you run out of tears. You just you
Sure.
just you just empty it out. You get rid of it, and now okay, we got to get back up. We can't, obviously this is not going to work for the rest of our lives. So what is the positive that we can do? So your resilience finally came up, and you went as dramatically to the research, to finding out, to improve yourself, which was a perfect example of your resilience. That was
Sure.
great, Augustine. And you continue to have resilience in all the little projects that you have. You learned from it
Thank you.
very well, very well. So I'm going to mute you because there's a thing on here. Yeah, Faith, Yanni Faith, can we hear from any of the three of you, or possibly Christian? Any of you can give us a situation in your past and what you actually did. Yanni, do you go by Faith or you go by Yanni? You don't go by any of it.
Hello.
Yes. You want to go by Faith? Is that what you wanted me to say, is Faith? I hope it's easier to remember.
Anyone is okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm just coming in, so I may like others to talk first. After that, I will. I'm just coming in.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if we would like you to share with us, if you would like, any type of an experience you had in your past that was stressful for you, and can share what it is that you did to improve on it, or actually to get through it. Can you think of anything that happened in your past and what you did to get through it?
All right. During my university stage, at year 3, I was having a little bit of problem with my grades. At third year, so it was very difficult for me. I was having friends. We do study, we do everything together, everything. Then at the end of the first semester, my result was out. Are you getting me?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're getting it. It's kind of spotty, but yeah, go ahead. So you were doing a lot of studying, and you were doing it with a friend, and that's the last I heard.
At third year, first semester. So when our grades were out, I was a bit lacking behind. And I was thinking, and that of my friends was very good. And I was thinking, so wow, why this is happening to me? But I thought that maybe I was lacking with my studies and so on. So second semester, I tightened up. I changed my mood of study. I just changed everything, the approach of studying.
So you changed all your studies to a different
I
area?
had no, we were studying the same course. We are doing the
So what
same
did you
course.
do? What did you
We are
do
doing
to
the
over?
same course. So I
Okay.
studied hard. At first semester, I was in my room studying, but at the end, second semester, I took another room at the hostels. I was going to classroom to do my studies. I'll be there up to 12 midnight. I changed everything. I changed the average. And at the end, at the end of second semester, I got good grades.
Yep.
I was able to overcome that challenge I was having.
Perfect. Perfect. You saw the whole situation. You said, look, this has got to change. And by doing it dramatically, you got through it, and actually learned a lot more, and probably got into a lot more depth in the subject area. Yeah, that's great. That's beautiful. Fatima, if you're able to, I know you have problems with the computer in and out. Or Christian or Bintu. Bintu, we haven't seen you or really heard from you for a couple of weeks, but at least your body's here. Can you share with us, Bintu? Thank you, Faith. Can you share with us?
Hello, everyone.
Cool.
I think I have to apologize for being not being present for the past trainings because I've been really busy with stuff. I'm producing face masks at the moment, and it's really taking my time. So going in for meetings, trying to get the materials, and then managing people at the same time. So it has been really challenging for me. So
Okay. Okay.
okay, I think one of the things that I would really have to share is the time that we had to really submit our assignment. We had a deadline with the IYP and everybody had to submit. And the same month, I was actually traveling and I had a research to work on. At the same time, I had 3 pending assignments to work on. So it was really tough. And the question is, I can't get kicked out of the program because I did not do my assignment. So I think the big question was that cannot happen. So whatever it is, I need to do my assignment. So if
Yep.
it's like working extra hours at night and then in the morning, maybe I can do my trainings at the country that I visited. So I have to sit the whole night writing because I need to finish. And it's obvious that I cannot get kicked out of the program because I did not do my assignment. So I think the lesson learned was getting things done on time and making sure everything is done.
Yeah.
So that was the commitment that I had, and I knew this was a responsibility. I have to work towards it. So whatsoever, I need to change something to make it happen. So that was really a good push and a huge experience for me because tasks are supposed to be done on time. So that was a lesson learned, and the resilience I got from it was that the commitment that I have to get this thing done. So I think that was a good experience for me, and I learned a lot from it.
Absolutely. See, that's the important thing. And it was your why again that kept you there. Why was because the why was strong enough, and your strength to get through that, your determination, and that's been the case throughout the whole thing, that you at least could bring that up from inside of you and say, look, this is something I committed to. I am going to do it. So that's so important. Fatima or Christian, would you like to share something that has happened? Thank you, Bintu. Something that has happened that you have gotten through and you've learned from, and you made a choice to do it. Christian, you want to share?
Yeah, I think so. Well, just in year past, 1 year ago, we decided, I and my girlfriend, to get engaged.
You and your wife.
And me and my wife and me. All right, so on the I think on the 5th May 2019, I decided to go to their family so that we get engaged. And so we did. At the end, they gave us a list of the things that we're supposed to give in order to get married, like the dowry, as it is customary in Africa. So when I took the list, I was surprised, and a stress came and caught me because I just saw that in total I was supposed to give to $2,500, like $2,500 for the dowry. I was like, okay, let me take the list, the paper. When I took it, I was like, I don't think I can make it right now. I'm not working. I don't have any job, not any income. And it was so stressful. But another thought was coming to my mind, thinking that there are people who have done this before. I can do it. After a little time, I got a little job that job was just nothing because I was not getting any money that could help me realize the dowry. But my fiancée by then, my wife, she was telling me to start buying things one by one and saving for the dowry. But I was like thinking that there would be a miracle where I could get everything at once, but nothing came up till the end of the year. In December 2019, I had to travel somewhere and I came back, but nothing came up. And then we just had this coronavirus that came up, and we went till March. Nothing was happening, but I was like, I gotta do something. One day I just took the decision that I'm going to get married. I made a date, like I set up a date, and then on that date I'm supposed to get married. I didn't realize that I was calling up all angels and everything to go my way. And as I'm telling you right now, I was able to pay, even though it wasn't all the money, but a big part of the dowry was paid. And I got married traditionally. In a few weeks, I'm going to get married legally at
Officially.
the government. So what the resilience was when I realized that I could do something, even though I was stressed out. I can do something, and then I did it, and then it's a thing of the past. If I was still postponing, I wouldn't have done this. That's what I was going on.
Yeah, absolutely. You kept on going and you let it out to the universe that that's what was going to happen. Somehow it was going to happen. Let's make it happen. And it was your
Jacque,
faith.
you've been with me through all of this.
I know.
You're a true witness.
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yes, each of you, now I haven't heard from Fatima. I'm not sure that we get her occasionally. I think we do, but I don't know. Fatima, did you have an experience that you got through? Ah, good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, thank God. Okay. I was having an incident before, 10 years before. I was studying in my school in Oman. I was not in India. I studied 10 years of my school life in Oman. So I was having a really different life over there. And I was diagnosed with speech delay and slow speech development. So I was really having tough times to speak with others, and I was really silent and all. But I was really interested in social services and speech things and all. I used to give speech competitions. I used to give the names in speech competitions, and I used to go there and stand at the stage, and I look at the people, and I get scared, and I get my words all jumbled up in my mind, and I used to spell it out, and the people used to laugh, and I used to throw my mic and I get out. That was a really stressful time.
Yeah.
And I felt really empty on that time and all. While coming to India, I got developed a lot, and I got my therapies and all. I am still going on the therapies. Still, I have problems with speech. What I'm thinking, if I'm by hearting anything, I'm gonna get mess up with everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mess up.
No, you're not gonna mess up.
So I don't by heart anything. I used to speak what's in my mind. I'm trained like that right now. Thank you.
That's important. You're seeing yourself transitioning through this, And again, it's your why. It's why is it that I'm doing this? Why is it, how is it that I'm going to be able to make that difference? And sometimes you can't see that, but you just keep walking, you keep going. And as Omar, who has not been with us now, you just, you call upon things that will assist you because that's what you know. And as you call upon them, they will be added to the experiences that will help you through next time in hopefully an easier way. And all of you have had dramatic experiences. So my question to you all would be, would there be some other way that you could possibly get through these things that you didn't think of? So there's a good chance that those or similar situations will appear again in your life. How can you reformat a response? And let us kind of brainstorm as if there was anything else that you could possibly have done that would improve upon that. I think most of you did, it sounds like everything you could possibly do. Can you think of anything else that might have improved that situation so that you can more automatically be able to accomplish the answer or to get through something that you didn't do? So in other words, can you think of anything else that might have made it better for yourself looking back at it now? Is there anything, most of you were, Augustine, you went as far as you could in that direction. Let's face it, I don't know what else you could have done. What, can you imagine anything else you might have done to get through that?
Yeah. I think like it matters for like when you're coming up, then you have a big dream, or like you are coming up. Let me say like that. It's good for you to have like a mentor, people you look up to. Like you have to always like try to realize your the step you are making. Sometimes it's good for you to reflect on whatever thing you are doing, at least like for you to do evaluation, like if you're on the right path or not. That also can be determined if you have like a mentor, somebody you share with, just like the forum you're organizing. So like if we have challenges, we can tell you, because you already have much experience, not only in your work area but about life issues. So you can not only like share experience with us in terms of professionalism, but also if you find out that it also have issues like that will affect us with our way of life, I'm sure you'll be happy to share such an experience with us. Maybe you might have passed through such. So we think like having people you can normally communicate your challenges to, constraints you face, like help, they will be helping you to provide you guidance is very, very more necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good answer. A lot of times you feel like you're going through it alone. You really think, my gosh, nobody's ever had this before. This is unbelievable. I can't believe I'm going through this. Nobody's ever had to go through this. And you realize when you bounce things off with people that you really aren't alone. You find out that there are other answers that maybe you hadn't thought about. That's an excellent answer, Augustine, and I think that it might be of an assistance to all of you to be able to find someone that you can talk with. Any other thoughts that you might have that would have contributed to making it easier, or maybe next time be able to get through it easier or better, that you might like to share? I think all of you really probably did as much as you possibly could. But a mentor or someone to talk with is excellent as far as another type of a thing. The other thing is the characteristic of a resilient person. The contributor of this is Frederick Flock, I think he pronounced it. The ability to learn. A resilient person is able to learn about new things, about open-minded, about seeing new things. about being creative, has more self-respect when you realize that you can make it through this. Yeah, if you are you going to take, excuse me, would you please take him with him, Will? When you find that you have more creativity when you're resilient. You're finding new ways of doing things that are creative, far different than when you did before when you're resilient. And you're able to recover your self-esteem when you are lost, or what we call diminished. That you're resilient when you can still know that you can do this because of the person that you are. Resilient person is independent of spirit. They don't need other people, except in the case of a mentor, it's always good, but they don't need other people to get them through this problem as far as the gut of it, of actually going through those. You could bounce it off others, I agree, but more independence that you have is great. Willingness to dream, a good sense of humor, a wide variety of interests. All of these things are part of the resilient person. When the resilient person realizes that they can make it through, there will be a tomorrow, we can get through this because it's an evolution of our lives or our society or whatever it's happening to. And I love this one. I just absorbed this today. Problem is not the problem. It's your attitude about it. Think about that for a minute. The problem is not really the problem. It's your attitude about it. I'm going to put that in big letters above my computer. It's your attitude about it. So as these things come along, we're going to hope Christian doesn't have to go through marriage again. It's only going to be one time. So he won't have to go through that, but he called upon God and all he knew, and it came to him. Augustine went in there and studied the heck out of it and got better because he was consistently working toward it. And Ku Wong, again, the courses, she got through the courses, and I can only relate in my experience to that. When I was in college as a freshman, I was part of what was called a sorority, which is a group of women going through the same thing together, same cause. And as a freshman, I was told that we had to study so many hours to be able to be a pledge, to be part of this. So little old me thought, well, I'll just put the book in front of me and I'll count this as an hour and I'll just kind of go through it and that's it. I've done my hour, but I didn't absorb anything. I just did my hour. I could sit there for an hour. So by the end of the freshman year, I was almost toast. I mean, grades were awful. And I realized that I wasn't absorbing anything. I was just kind of floating. It was such a big, big lesson to me that those hours were there for a reason. It wasn't just because it was a requirement and you thought you could do the requirement. It was for you to actually think and to actually go through that. And luckily I did not drop out of college. I was able to recover and to get through my 4 years. So yeah, it was a big lesson. And I understand, Ku Wong, exactly what you're saying. You know, you just have to hit a different level and realize that your why is really important. And that's what builds your resiliency. So let's finish off here. And I think this is the last one here. What are we? We're getting real close. I think all of you have come up with some really good answers. And come on, go down. So our conclusion to this whole thing is that your interpretation of an event is the entire deciding factor for how you respond. If you look at this as the beginning and the end, and this is not, you just can't go any further. Well, okay, that's your interpretation. But when you look at it like, well, we'll make it through. There's going to be a tomorrow no matter what. If I can just manage to take a deep breath, sit on my hands without getting frustrated for about 15 minutes. It's that awareness muscle again. And think what I can do, what I can't do, what can positively come from this, and to actually make that happen. It's interpreting it at a different level. So changing your interpretation changes the response and maintains the resilience and the peace. So it's how you look at it. Now, I want you to think of one thing before we close. Is there anything on a daily basis that you can do to increase your resilience? Because you can forget this tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if you forgot this tomorrow. I won't, but maybe you would. Is there anything that you can do on a daily basis that might be able to increase your resilience? Can you think of anything? Augustine Casey said, in Augustine's case, he'd probably call me every other day or every day instead of every other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not going to help. No. No. Well, is there anything that you can add in your life to reinforce your resilience? Think about that for a minute. Any consistency that you can put in there. I'm also reading a book by Darren Hardy, and it's about the compound effect, about the things that we do can put into our schedule that in baby steps will actually accomplish what it is that we want to do. And resilience can be there for sure. What little baby steps? And I would suggest, if you haven't thought of one already, is to think, change your perspective. Absolutely. Change your perspective about how you look at it. Fatima, it's a good point. is to each day envision what you want to see by the end of the day. I call that my miracle list. What miracles do I want to see today? I do that in my mind when I start out. I'd like to see, it would be a miracle if this would happen. It would be a miracle if this was happen. So I actually look at the things, and I'm sure that's what Christian did that got him there. He saw the wedding ceremony. He saw being with his wife. He saw that. So if you can envision every day, take a time out and say, these are the miracles I wish to have, the intentions I wish to have, the things I wish to have today happen. You put it in the universe's schedule. I know it sounds kind of crazy. You put it in the universe's schedule. It's lets me give you a little more detail so you can make it happen, God, okay? Here are the details. This is what we want to accomplish. It would be a miracle. It will be a miracle. It is a miracle that I actually accomplished all of this today. So when you do that, you've built your resilience. You've built your work toward the why you're here. So every little bit of that every day just keeps building and building and building until all of a sudden you find yourself married. All of a sudden you find yourself wherever it is that you had wanted to go. So I encourage you to continue on with your resilience and to think about this. This thing doesn't really work. Okay, any golden nuggets? Well, we don't usually get to those. But the last comment is, resilience is based on compassion for ourselves as well as compassion for others. Compassion for yourself. Probably hadn't thought about that before. compassion for yourself, because if you don't have it for yourself, pray tell, how can you have it for others? Is there any suggestion or thought about what you would like to have for next week that would help you in your growth? I am open. Someone from the other group said joy. I'm more than happy to share joy if you'd like to have that. Anybody else have any thoughts? That good, huh? Okay. So you have lots of things to think about, and I am extremely proud that you have made it through all of those events in your life. Try to get what you can that you might not have noticed before out of what you did, and give yourself credit. Give yourself credit. You made it through, and they were traumatic events. I am so proud of you, and I really am very proud of the person you are right now, today. So go make it a good day. Okay? Have a good one, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Go make it happen. I know you guys can do it. Okay.
Thanks.
All righty.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You take care.